Good morning. I'm Dr. Brett Hulsebus, chiropractor here in Rockford, Illinois. Today's Ask the Chiropractor. We get asked a question a lot. We get asked a question about common injuries that people get when exercising. Now, I think when you exercise, your posture and the way you do it's very, very important. And that's something that you need to work with somebody one-on-one with aggressively. You find yourself a good coach to work with. But today I'm going to talk a little bit more about some common things that people don't do every day when it comes to exercising and stretching. And that's talking about how you warm up and how you cool down, and maybe like a recovery, how to restock your supplies that you burn out when you exercise. Because when we like to exercise, we burn a lot of stuff. We burn off a lot of stuff, and we have to replenish ourselves in order to get back to normal. So what we're going to do is, I always talk about, if I find an answer to your question, you need to find an expert in the field. So today I'm going to share my question, Ask the Chiropractor, with a good friend of mine down the road from me, Coach Justin Kegley. Coach Justin Kegley and I have worked together with patients on and off over the years. He's great. I have a copy of his book here, Be Great Today. It's a great book if you want to learn how to start. Where do I start day one, making myself, improving my health? And the thing that I really appreciate working with Coach Kegley is he does great with all my patients, but the one area that I really find he does great with is all my student athletes. My daughters go to his place. They work with him and stuff like that. He's great with the kids. He's not just coaching your physical person. He's also working with what goes on with that muscle between your ears. He's really big on making sure that muscle between your ears works good. So we're going to jump over to him, and we're going to ask him some of these questions too, and kind of work together and come up with some answers. Let's go over there. All right, Coach Kegley, welcome. So we get asked the chiropractor a lot. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is about, they always want to know about the exercise and the form and stuff like that. And I think that's incredibly important as a chiropractor. I know you do too, but I want to actually go one step before that, one step before we grab a dumbbell or we start hitting an exercise piece of equipment and talking about a warm up. And a lot of my patients, I stress them heavily about, if you want to do one thing to make yourself healthier and better, go for a 30-minute walk. So could you kind of touch a little bit on like what kind of a warm up you would think a patient should do or a person should do who needs to start in a 30-minute walk first?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dr. Brand. Appreciate it. And I think, look, getting, the exercise part is always intriguing, right? Like that's the most exciting part. But I 100% agree with you on going for a walk. That is the beginning place. So really, in making sure that we're starting to move in our lower body, because obviously that's what's going to be important. So I really like to just do some functional movement patterns, right? So like taking some time to get your put your upper body against the wall, and then to make sure you're working through to loosen up your calves, getting on a slight step or something to work through, getting some calf raises up and down, which is a really simple thing, but it'll prevent you from having issues where you start to like push it and you feel pain or issue in the calf or in the ankle. Also, any body weight movement, and it could be stuff that you're supported on. It doesn't have to be about doing the perfect exercise, but some body weight squats, lateral squats, things like that will get you to start to prime the pump. So that way, as you're walking, your body is more engaged rather than just going like, hey, cold, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to let it rip. That may help, but ultimately we want to move well for life, not just move well for that 30 minutes.
Exactly. So one of the things I like to talk to a lot of patients about for a good warm-up is maybe getting a foam roller. I believe you're probably a big fan of foam rollers too,
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
So
foam rolling. Yes, sir.
Go for it. Tell us a little about foam rolling.
Foam rolling is an outstanding piece that I do recommend for most people, right? Because what it allows us to do is it allows us to increase the length of our muscle tissue in a short, in that short time period, right? So what's great about it is if we increase that muscle tissue length, then ultimately we're going to have a better piece of muscle over the long term. So really working on making sure, foam rolling all the way up the legs. And we talked about like doing some stuff to get your calves and your lower body warmed up, but doing the same thing, warming up, rolling through your calves, through your quads, through your hamstrings on the backside of your leg, really making sure that you start to move through that. I always think we should foam roll our back in appropriate places, but we need to make sure we take care of our spine, obviously, as you know, but that's really to work through those things because it's going to help us to have better quality tissue for the long term.
And with that foam roller idea, we're using that for all of our athletes, not just our walkers, right? Even our most aggressive athletes are going to do stuff like that.
Absolutely. I think, look, a foam roller is a poor man's massage therapist, right? So if you could take a massage therapist with you everywhere and have them, go through muscle tissue issues or just a general warm up before a game, before a practice, we would 100% do that, right? But the foam roller allows us again to increase. If you think of people that have mobility issues are restricted, like it starts in that tissue not being able to stretch and move, right? And so it gets all bound up. And a foam roller is not a magic pill, but what it does is allows us in the short term to start getting greater increases in range of motion, allows our muscle to move better. So that way, in the long term, it becomes a better, more quality muscle tissue. So it prevents injury, and it is 100% something I recommend for everybody.
Now, is there another product that you like a lot too for warm-ups, or did we kind of cover it?
No, I think it's really it. Warm-ups don't have to be complicated. And I think sometimes people just overcomplicate that or think it has to be this big masterful thing. But really it's about moving in a way that what you're going to prepare to do, right? So when we look at our athletes, if we're going to move laterally or linearly, we warm up appropriately that way. For anybody who's not, I think a warm-up is going to not only prepare your muscle tissue, but it's going to allow you to have a better workout. So when you go in and you're like, hey, I'm going to run into the gym and just get a quick workout in, or I'm going to, go for a walk or go for a run, you're selling yourself short and you're cutting the quality of your training down if you don't get a warm up. Your heart rate's going to be increased, your muscle tissue is going to be better, and it's overall going to be a better experience and more beneficial.
In reality, when you do that, you're not really saving time, because when you're done, you're going to have to come over and make an appointment with me anyways, correct?
Yeah,
So you're not
right.
really-
You're trading, it's penny wise, pound foolish, right? Like we're taking those short-term things, go like, oh, well, I can get it in really fast. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, my back just went out. I don't know why. What happened? It's like, well, if we take that time, you can have the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, one of the two. And you don't want to regret for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about afterwards. I know your family and our families have one distinct difference. You have all sons and I have all daughters. And the one thing I learned about, growing up is difference having daughters is a lot of times my girls will have a basketball game, have an hour and a half break, and have another basketball game. It seems to me like powers that be do not think girls need recovery time or don't need to do anything after a sporting event to get ready for the next one. So if you had a quick tip or advice for us what to do like after an event for like a cool down and a recovery activity, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So a couple things. I think our cool down looks a lot like our warm up. The caveat to that is as we start to cool down, number one, I want to bring the heart rate down because making sure that we get better movement through our range of motion with flexibility and stretching. That's really great, but we have to make sure we bring our heart rate down. Too many times we force a stretch by trying to work really hard at it if we're doing it rather than relaxing, right? Stretching is about the breath. So making sure that we bring our heart rate down, but you can still go through the same thing with the foam roller at the end of a workout. And then we want to make sure that we go through all of our stuff, especially in the lower extremity or whatever, if you work something in particular. But in looking specifically like through athletes or people that are moving in lower body work, we want to make sure that we are working all the way through the calf, all the way up the lower part of the body. Because here's the deal, like ankles get stiff, and that often causes problems at the knee, right? If our hips get stiff, that can cause problems in the back and the knee. So ultimately, if you don't take care of the things that are in between your joints, you're going to have joint problems. So we want to avoid that by taking care of what's going on in between each of those joint segments.
Often here in the clinic, we say sometimes, unfortunately, you're all connected because you damage one thing and next thing you know, you're having all kinds of issues. So that does happen. And then
Exactly.
I'm talking one more thing here real quick about like muscle cramps and soreness like hours later, because maybe, like I said, we burn through stuff. We burn through some of our things in our body. And I'm always been a huge fan of doing recovery, like shakes and recovery stuff like that. Do you have any tips for us, and what do you recommend? And maybe do you have something that we can look at?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So recovery looks like not only stretching and taking care of your body that way, but also getting nutrients back in your system. Like you said, we're burning through that, so we want to make sure that we repair that. Especially we want to make sure that we take care of our muscle tissue. So one of the things that we highly recommend is after a workout that you get a protein and you get a carbohydrate into your body immediately. And we want that to be the best as possible. Typically, like a piece of fruit or something like that. Protein powder is the easiest way to get that back in quick. You can have a whole meal. I will tell you, we believe in this so much. We create a product line called Movement Supplements that we just, stuff like this. And so this is our branched chain amino acid, which is really good pre and intra workout, but also protein afterwards to make sure that you're replenishing that muscle, because we've obviously torn down some muscle fiber while we're getting our workout in, and we want to repair that, because muscle doesn't just mean like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like we're not just about building 24-inch biceps. If we lose muscle mass over time, ultimately our metabolism decreases, people get frustrated, and then we also don't have quality muscle tissue. And being able to be strong into the end of your life, like as we start to get into those older age ranges, having muscle allows us to live independently and decrease the risk of falling. So we want to make sure that we take care of our muscles for life. So repairing that through protein and some kind of carbohydrate immediately after your workout is going to make a huge difference in where you are. And obviously pairing that with a really good nutrition program will be super helpful.
I know Coach Kegley and I kind of both have a similar goal. When we're 95 years old, we don't want to take the scooter to dinner at 4 o'clock. We want to be able to walk down there. And that's kind of the goal for behalf of everybody else we work with too. So, Coach Kegley, down the bottom here, I got your website going. What if I wanted to learn more from you? How can I find you? Instagram, anything like that? Can you give us some help?
For sure. So you can find me at Coach Keg, K-E-G, Coach K-E-G on Instagram, also on Facebook as well. Those are the two main places that I post. We also have our Movement 815 that you can find on Instagram as well. So that's where we put out a ton of information, try to be a resource and enlighten our community and make an impact where we can.
Well, thanks for everything you do. Thanks for coming on and joining us today. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap this up here?
No, that's it. I really appreciate our partnership, Dr. Brandt. It means a lot, and you love being able to come on and help people out. I think this is the stuff that matters, right? To make sure that we take care of our community, and it starts with just one person at a time. So thanks for what you do and allowing me to be a part of it.
Always love having you here. And again, if you need to find Coach Kegley, you can reach out to me too. I, of course, have his information and be more than happy to share it. He's just down the road from our office. So thanks again for another episode of Ask the Chiropractor. Remember, if you have a question about health like today or about chiropractic specifically, don't ask your family doctor, ask a chiropractor. You want to ask a doctor about your teeth, you'd ask your dentist. So something comes up, you want to know an answer about chiropractic, leave a message below, go to our website, rockforddc.com, or give us a call. And maybe next time we'll be talking about your question. Other than that, everybody have fun. Coach Kegley, I'll let you say your line.
Thanks. Let's go be great today.
All right. Thanks, everybody.